Surely, given the nature of that defeat, in the sense you took an early lead and then shipped 2 goals from set plays, was that the most disappointing performance of the season so far?
I think it's a $64 million question about performance versus result. I think performance-wise, if truth be known, we should be 2, possibly 3 goals up before they get a goal just before half-time. And knowing Andy Priest as I do, had a good conversation with him afterwards with regards to his game plan. They were a little bit mindful of our ability to play football. But at the end of the day, it counts for nothing if you're not going to win a game of football. If you can pass the ball for, like England do, say for instance, you've got to go and win the game 2-0. But I unfortunately haven't got a Harry Kane up front. It would be nice when the chances do come along that one day we'll hit a rich vein of form, which I think we have done so far in a 3-0 win and a 4-0 win. But some days you're not going to get that. Some days it's going to be a 1-0 Brackley and show a lot of character, but keep a clean sheet. I think we've drifted away from the clean sheet mentality is my overall assessment of it, and we've got to get back to that as quick as possible. And the way to do that, I think, is to get everybody fit. Certainly your 2 centre-halves that were part and parcel of that good start that we had. They're vital players to us, Paul Downing and Alex Penny formed a reasonable partnership, and what has to be said, and kept Rhys McNally sitting on his backside. Whilst he was sitting on his backside, he was watching us play some good football, but now he's had his opportunity, and but unfortunately it went into a system change at the same time. So I think if I'm a manager analysing my own team, there's ways and means of trying to keep a level of performance intact, but consistency of performance comes down to consistency of team selection, and we've just been missing 1 or 2 key players, I think. Hence the reason why just before half-time we concede a goal, and then just after half-time we concede a goal. And then I say huff and puff, I think we had a couple of great chances in the second half as well, but just didn't manage to put the ball in the back of the net. But when normally a team that's flowing and scoring goals freely, the word freely means you're free of any kind of pressure and anxiety. On Saturday we looked as if we were filling up with anxiety towards the end of the game, and it was we have to do this, we have to do that, and normally that nullifies any kind of freedom. And that's the reason why we didn't get an equaliser, and that's the reason why we didn't win the game. But the mentality in the penalty box has got to be better, and the players that do replace the 2 centre-halves that we're missing probably have to do as good, if not better as well. And it'll be nice to know that we've announced, or we haven't announced it yet, but we've brought in a player on loan from Mansfield, George Cooper, somebody who's been recommended to us very highly, and we've watched on a couple of occasions. So he's going to be an addition to the squad on Saturday, and hopefully we've been given permission to play him in the FA Cup, so hopefully he'll have his first game on Saturday, and it'll be in our normal back 4 with a bit of luck, if Rhys McNally comes to the party as well.
Tell us a bit about George Cooper then. What sort of age is he, and what sort of experience has he got?
He's only a young lad. He's had a couple of sniffs in the first team, and he's also had a couple of loans as well, so he's got a little bit of experience where men's football is concerned. We've trained today. We did a little bit of tactical work with regards to Leek Town on Saturday, which is always important. You've got to respect the opposition, doesn't matter what level they come from, and doesn't matter what game it is, in which we do. We'll respect Leek. We'll watch them on Tuesday night against Hyde. We find the system that they play and the style of football, more importantly, and they'll have a go. It's the FA Cup at the end of the day. It's a money grabber in the end. It's a money making venture in the end, but at this moment in time you're just piecing together that jigsaw to try and get to that stage. But we're doing exactly the same. We want to win the game, so we'll be putting a fairly strong team, and giving 1 or 2 run-outs to players that haven't been seen by the Agbra crowd, so hopefully they'll have a few bums on seats to come and watch the players that they haven't seen.
Your 2 centre-halves you mentioned, Paul Downing and Alex Penny, what's the news on them? Are they likely to be available?
Not for Saturday, it's not looking likely. I think Penn's is closer to being fully fit than what Downs is. But I'm hopeful, mindful of the fact that we'll work them hard next week, and hopefully they'll both be available for selection next Saturday. But it's up to the 2 centre-halves who play this Saturday to keep them on their backsides and keep them sitting on their hands. That's the horrible part of the game, but they were part of a successful start. Doesn't mean to say they're going to walk straight back into the team.
Just looking at the league, if you've got ambitions to win the league, which I'm sure you have, you've lost 3 now. You can't afford to lose a lot more, really, now. It seems a strange thing to say in September, but you lose more than 7 or 8. It's tough to win any league, isn't it, really?
I think it's more important that the signs that you're getting are key. They're positive. They're important to a coach. They're important to what you can work with on the training ground and what you can work at towards on a Saturday. And I think that's the key to any success that we're going to have. We'll be the kind of team that can go on a run. There's no doubt about it. The players, I think, like most players, they do blossom with regards to winning games of football, and they do get confidence levels above and beyond what they've done before, and certainly when you get a group of players that can do that collectively, you've got a better chance of winning games of football. But it's a work in progress. It will be, and the FA Cup's a nice distraction. It's one of them where players likes of Rhys Devine and Seb Thompson, Jack Lambert, people like that who haven't actually played in any real part in the league so far, we'll start having a look at them to make sure that when it's time to put them into the league campaign, they come in and they're ready for action. Yeah,
Jack Lambert's made a couple of subs appearances. Rhys Devine, we're yet to see much of him so far.
Yeah, Rhys is he's a tenacious lad. He's a lad who likes to go into a battle, but he has the luxury of a lovely left foot. Again, everyone talks about sweet left foots and never a sweet right foot, but he does sort of attract attention, playing on the left-hand side, but he hasn't had the opportunity because of the form of Caleb Richards, and rightly so as well. And the same with Jack Lambert. Jack probably would have had a lot more minutes if it wasn't for the form of Maz Kuya. And with that in mind, I think Jack sees that and he wants to get in the team ahead of Maz Kuya, or if not alongside Maz Kuya. So let's see what Saturday brings for Jack, and let's see what it brings for Rhys Devine, and hopefully they'll stake a claim with regards to the next game, which is again a massive game.
Be a good one to get done the first time of asking this, wouldn't it, really? Wouldn't fancy a trip to Leek on a Tuesday night?
I can think of worse places to go, but no, we want to try and get it done in 90 minutes, as you always do. Having said that, I looked at the campaign in the league and the FA Cup, and I don't think we've got a midweek game until October, back end of October, which for a team that's just played 8 games in a calendar month, 8 league games in a calendar month, it just shows you the brutality of the league and the schedule itself. But no midweek games from now till October the 22nd. We're going to try and make sure that we don't have a midweek game on Tuesday by sorting out a League Town side, which will be a challenge, there's no doubt about it. They'll come to Agbra, as all teams do, playing in a certain way and having a mindset that they'll keep the crowd quiet, etc., etc. So we've got a job to do on Saturday, and we will be mentally prepared more than physically.
Okay, the league will always be the priority for any manager in any season, but get through a few rounds of the cup. It doesn't hurt, does it? It builds momentum and also brings a few quid in as well, really.
Never hurts winning games of football. I don't care what anybody says, unless you get a whole list of injuries in the treatment room. But I think if truth be known, come the end of the season, if we say this moment was our bad moment, having had 2 strikers down and 2 centre-halves down, and like all managers, I'll be complaining, saying the squad wasn't big enough, etc., etc. But bottom line is, we'll cut the cloth accordingly, as we have done so far, and we'll continue to do that and make sure that when the players do come back, they'll be ready for action and hopefully stay in the team from then on.
You brought in George Cooper, obviously. Is that for a month initially? Is that how it's working?
Say that again, sorry?
You brought in George Cooper, as you say. Is that for a month initially?
Initially a month, but it'll be with a view to a longer if George does the job. But he knows he's coming into a side that's missing their 2 first team regulars, if truth be known, albeit only 6-7 games in. The 2 first team regulars were there for everybody to see. Both of them, unfortunately, getting injured in the same game was the part that I couldn't quite get to grips with, and the Scunthorpe game proving to be a little bit of a hurdle. But by the time we play Scunthorpe here, hopefully they'll be ready for action and we can throw them two under the bus again.
And just summing up the season so far, what's your overriding emotion about? Are you reasonably satisfied? Okay, it was a bad result the weekend, but are you reasonably satisfied? Are you frustrated? How would you sum it up?
I'm frustrated to a certain extent, the fact that we're playing some really easy on the eye kind of football. It's really eye-catching, if truth be known. But you've got to get both penalty boxes right. And if you do, most teams win things when they get both penalty boxes right. That's put their head in both 6-yard boxes from set pieces for and against. And it's not an Achilles heel by any stretch of the imagination. When you lose 2 strikers and you lose two centre-halves, then the numbers you're gonna lose out on as well. You know, you've got 2 6'2" centre halves who are injured, and Amari Morgan-Smith, who was braver than brave, and it has to be said, Ben Beresford put his head in the 6-yard box and got himself a couple of goals as well. So to miss them kind of players, I think come the end of the season will be something that we'll be looking back at and saying that was our bad moment, and hopefully we'll have a few good moments from now on.
On Ben Beresford, finally, any news on it? Any update?
No, he's still undergoing treatment. We still, it's one of them where we're working closely with Birmingham, and Birmingham are not on that rescan a player. They take a view that the first scan is the one that you have to work towards, and it being a grade 2, you're given a certain time scale. And I know Ben's only a young lad and he's frustrated that he's in the treatment room and he wants to get out there, and he watches the lads train every day. He's in every day with us, which is brilliant news, but he watches the lads train every day and probably just thinking that there's nothing wrong with his body, a young man. But bottom line is we have to respect the fact that he's tore his hamstring, and when he's thrown out there, it'll be when he's ready and not when I want to play him.
That's great, thank you very much.
It must be that strange middle ground for Ben, just thinking he's a few weeks removed from his injury, so part of his recovery will be there, but obviously not ready to get back into full training yet. I guess it must be a bit of a limbo for a footballer.
I was very fortunate as a player, Matty, that I didn't have too many injuries, but in a career that spans sort of 16, 17 years, when you get to 800 games, you tend to forget about your injuries. You know, you tend to think that I've gone the whole of my career without an injury, but I remember a hamstring that I had, and it was down to the fact that I was going through problems off the field of play, and the mentality of it actually caused me to have the issue, physical issue. And I think there was an FA survey out on players' soft tissue injuries. There was something like 75-80% of soft tissue injuries were psychological, that they were in the mind, whether, you know, from a pressure point of view, whichever the case may be, or something going on in your life that you weren't quite happy with. If that is the case, when you think about it, the health and welfare of the mentality of your players is going to be of paramount important more than anything else. And you know what it's like, every player just gets out there on a Monday to Friday, and if he's fit enough to play on a Saturday, why am I not playing? And it is the first mental issue, they haven't been picked. So all of them things come into play where managers are concerned. I think a young man, when Ben Beresford's concerned, he's in every day, he wants to integrate amongst the players, he wants to get amongst the likes of Amari and Hemo, and he wants to pick their brains, you know, because these are experienced lads at this level. And it's great to see that he is in here every day, and I think that will speed up his recovery. The mental side of his game will speed his recovery up, and long may that continue.